Have you ever heard a sound before in a video game over and over and thought, man, that sound is really annoying? Yeah. Me too. In the modern gaming world, there are tons of techniques that audio people do to make the sound effects you're hearing sound less repetitive over a long period of time and therefore more interesting to listen to. In today's video, we're going to do just that with this sound effect from an indie game that I've been working on that is really annoying the shit out of me. Take a look at this. This is Colossus Eternal Blight, an indie action RPG made by Rustic Panda Games that I'm currently doing sound design for. It's a game that takes inspiration from Chrono Trigger as well as Hyperlight Drifter. And if you saw my last video about this game, you'd know that we already made a really cool level up sound effect for it. However, in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the main character's basic attack combo, which currently sounds like this. Originally, the lead dev and I really liked the original sound effect for this, but after a period of time, I started to realize that it sounds kind of annoying. Right now, we've got a single sound effect playing for every single basic attack combo. With only 3 combo hits, that leaves us with pretty much 3 sound effects that we're playing whenever you trigger the combo. But here's the thing. It's just one sound effect with a little bit of pitch changing going on in the engine. This does create a little bit of variation and makes it a little interesting to listen to, but listen to what it sounds like when you only trigger one of the combo hits constantly. Yeah, now imagine hearing that, or the same 3 sounds with a little bit of pitch difference over and over and over and over. So, what can we do about this? Well, actually, the answer is really simple. I want to give a gigantic shout out to Akash Thakkar. I hope to God that's how you say your name. I'm so sorry if it's not. He's got this really cool video on YouTube where he talks about layers in sound design and how to use them to trigger different repetitions of sound. Basically, the concept goes like this. We currently only have one sound effect for each sword swipe in the combo that we're using, right? Well, those sounds are made up of different layers, but they're baked down into one single sound effect for each attack. But instead, what we could be doing is, let's say that we have 3 layers for every sword swipe attack that we can choose from. The first layer is going to be a sword style noise, so like a blade scrape, a knife scrape, something of that nature, blades hitting each other, anything like that. The second layer could be something like movement, like a whoosh or a swish or a swoosh or whatever the hell you want to call it, and that will give us some movement to our sound effect. And then the last layer could be something like leather movement, cloth movement, metal movement to depict the character swinging their body around when they're attacking with the sword. Let's say in each of these layers we pick 3 different sound effects that we could use for each of these sounds, and then in the game engine, we can be like, when you go to do this attack, pick one of these sounds from each layer and then play all the layers together. The end result of this is a sound effect that isn't just one sound, but could be a layer combination of 3 sounds out of 9 potential sound effects at any given time. With this method, we can get a result that sounds really unique because every time you throw out a sword attack, it will never sound the same as it did the last time you threw it, but it'll still have a similar vibe because all the layers that we've picked together sound similar. Now that we have our idea in place, it's time to get to actually choosing the sound effects that we're going to use for each of our layers. For our particular version of this sound effect, we're going to be using 5 layers instead of 3 because it gives us even more combinations to work with, and I like more combinations. Our layers are as follows. The first layer is a sword scraping layer, kind of like we talked about before. You gotta have something for the blade, right? The second layer is going to be another sword scraping layer, but this one is for more fullness, more body, more weight. It just sounds heavier. The third and fourth layers are our movement layers, so I'm putting some swishes and whooshes here. Just helps. It sounds good. We like whooshes and swooshes. I'm a big whoosh and swoosh fan. If you're a big whoosh and swoosh fan, like the video. And then our final layer is some metal movement layer for his pauldron thingies that he wears. I'm sure Lucian wears metal. I'm pretty sure he's wearing metal. Like, that's just, he's a knight. That's what he does. He wears metal. I'm making this look really short on screen right now, but I just want to tell you that this process of finding the right sounds to use for your layers and searching through sound effects takes way longer than I'm going to show you on this video, because sometimes you're just sitting there for literal hours on end doing this. It's a lot more work than I make it look like, so just, I don't know, leave a comment below and say you're doing a good job. Don't say that. That's stupid. That's dumb. I don't know why I just told you to do that. After playing around with the combination of these layers, I put one sound together just to give a quick test and show to our lead dev to see if he liked the new sound effect. But this is where I encountered our first major issue of the project. Hey, here's your sound effect. I kind of really like the old sound effect, though. Can't you, use the same sounds for this new system you're working on? Oh, yeah, I guess that does make sense. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll just go find this sounds real good. No, I'll be right back. It'll be no problem at all. And then I couldn't find them. At this point, I was stressing out just a little bit because I literally could not find the old sound effects that I used for this attack. The problem is that I used a different software at the time of creating them, and I could not find the sound effects for the life of me. What am I supposed to do, gamers? Colossus is finished. We will never, ever make it to top charts on Steam if I can't find these damn sound effects. The reason this is so hard to locate is because at the time I was trying to learn a different digital audio workstation software called Reaper. And right now I use a different one called Pro Tools because I'm just used to using that one. But at the time I was trying to learn Reaper. So the sound effects are nowhere to be found. But suddenly a thought came to me. I was like, hey, wait a minute. I bet I still have that Reaper session somewhere on my computer. So a quick little search through my file browser later, and I found out I did, in fact, still have the .rpp session file on my computer. So, whew, thank God, we're saved. So I searched up the session, opened it up on my computer, looked at the names of the sounds, and then rewrote them down. With this, we were saved, and I would be able to accurately recreate the sound that I did the first time, but this time in layers. So I dropped back into Pro Tools, switched a bunch of my layers around, and now our layer system looks something like this instead. The first layer is the blade layer, like we had before. The second and third layers are swoosh and whoosh layers, because I didn't need that extra blade sound to begin with. And the fourth and fifth layers are like Foley layers, where the fourth layer is leather movement, and the fifth layer is metal movement for, again, the little shoulder pauldron thingies he has. And some examples here, you could see me flipping between the different sounds in the layers to hear the variations we might end up having in the game engine. So now that we finally have all the sounds we want to use and the different layers that we're going to choose from, it's time to set all this up inside of GameMaker. Instead of boring you with all the coding details, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what this is going to look like. We can set up some code that will pick randomly from one of the 3 sound effects in every layer out of the 5 layers, and then play all 5 layers together at the same time. To make this difference now more apparent, I'm going to play what the sound effect was like at the beginning of this video, versus now at the end when we've done all these layer system things. This creates a better player experience overall because, in general, it's just more pleasant to listen to and not nearly as annoying as before. It doesn't get too distracting, it doesn't annoy the shit out of you. I think that's a win-win in my book. And that's pretty much how I made a really cool layer system for the sound effects in our game and made it sound a lot cooler than it was before. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. A bunch of layers, but instead, here's what we can do. If we have 3 attacks and we come up with, let's say, for example, 3 different layers. A sword swipe layer, here's a snap. Sorry, Mach, I wasn't snapping at you, I promise. And in today's video, would you stay off my phone, please? At one time when you play all the sound. When you do, what are you doing? What are you coming down here for? You want to join me? This does create a little bit of variation and makes it a little interesting to listen to, but listen to what it sounds like when you only trigger one of the combo hits constantly. Oh, I didn't realize she was back there. Machi.